Hi, my name is Daniel, and I agree to have this video publicly available. My project is called CBed, and what it is it is a Discord bot that will take a message from a user that contains a function. At this current moment, it can only accept a function that returns a string, takes two string parameters that you can mutate and do whatever you want with, and then a output string. And so whatever you do with those two strings, you have to copy the output into this output parameter that you passed in, or that I will pass in once the main function is created from the function that the user passed in. And so what the goal is here is to provide a test bed for the user that will help the user not miss any edge cases in their code and not have to spend the time writing a test bed they'll just delete afterwards. And so an example of this is just so how am I faking it? The function here that I passed in is first letters, and it returns a string that has the first letters of both the first and second string. So the test results it gave back were these are hard-coded in, but eventually in the future I'd want these to be dynamically made, given a database file with different strings or different values for each type. So strings, integers, and other things. Right now it can only handle strings. So both these functions begin with A, so the output is AA. AB is AB, 1 to 3 and 1 to 4 gives just 1 and 1. And finally, an empty string, if passed in with a string called string, gives nothing. And so this is an edge case where you'd expect something along the lines of S, instead you get nothing. And this is because we just never handled that in our code. And so if you were writing your own test bed, this may or may not have been something you tested. And if you didn't, then in production, this could break. And so that's why I believe that this project is worthwhile and people actually use it. And so to take a quick run through the code, what happens is we require the Discord JS library to talk to the Discord API, and then Puppeteer, which is essentially a virtualized Google Chrome. We declare the browser variable outside in the global scope, so that way we can use it further down. And then this had to be an asynchronous call to puppeteer.launch, so I had to use this JavaScript trickery to have this run. And then we create a client to Discord client. We get the environment variables, and then we log in to Discord using the token environment variable. And then once it's ready, it'll say logged in, which it does right here. And then once we get a message that starts with exec and then a C code block, if the message is not in the direct messages, then it'll say, please run this in a direct message with me. This will make sure that the servers that don't want code to be seen people will be discouraged from posting it in servers because of this and keep it more private. Then we take a string and then we clean the content, which basically removes the code block formatting and new lines and the extra white space. We then send running tests, please be patient. This will help the user know that their message was received. Then we add it to main, and what the add to main function does is it gets the function name from the string that was passed in, and then fills out this template, which just checks a few of these, but again, ideally these would be completely auto-generated, and most of this main function actually wouldn't be templated the way it is now. But it replaces the fname anywhere with the function name. And then the full will take this whole function and then add on the string that was passed in, which is just the function, which will allow us to call the function from the entire code will be complete. You could throw this full string into a text document and have it run perfectly fine. And then once that is done, we send it to the run function. the run function will create a page, create a new page in the browser instance, go to this website, wait until the page is loaded, then it will wait for the code value to be loaded, and that's this text area. Then it's going to put in the string that we passed into here, which will be this main function. Then we will run, which is this key. We'll click on that. Then we'll wait for this debug value to change. And this only changes, because it's read-only, that only changes once all the code has run. So that's a quick way to tell once we're done running. Then we will check if the output length is nothing. And if the output length is 0, then we'll just say the output is empty and there must be something wrong with your code because you're not returning anything. Then after that, if it's not empty, then we'll grab it and then we'll close the page and return that output. And then once we return that output, we check if that is empty. And if it is empty, then we just say empty message and exit out. But if it's not, then we prettify it, which basically just puts it in a code format and puts this test results at the beginning. And then we message.channel.send output, and that's when we get this lovely output. And so in this, I had to use various things to try and get it to work properly. And because of time constraints and Discord.js having a major 12.0 update while I was writing this, I had to rewrite most of it, and that's why it feels almost like a prototype, and that's because it is. If I had more time, I would definitely go through and make this main file more auto-generated and less like this. And then the database, which I would pull all these values from, things like that would be open source and on GitHub, and then people could go and add their own edge cases so that edge cases that I miss could still be available. And then future people who decide to use this won't have to worry that certain edge cases aren't caught because everybody will be able to see this database and add anything that they think is missing. And so this works with all string functions that fit the parameters that I was saying before. And that's my SLP project. So I hope you enjoyed, and